So the American Dream and Promise Act of 2025 was introduced by Representative Garcia of Texas. So this provides a pathway to lawful permanent residency for Dreamers, DACA recipients, TPS, which is temporary protected status holders, and DED stands for Deferred Enforcement Departure beneficiaries. The bill will counsel removal procedures that sets up clear eligibility requirements, application processes, and safeguards. So there's something to note about this bill that it is set under two titles, or three titles, but two titles that specifically states it's divided into three sections. So Title I is the DREAM Act of 2025. So this just establishes that eligibility requirement for permanent residency. So it just establishes a conditional pathway for individuals who enter the United States as children. And then the eligibility requirements under this is that you must be continuously present in the United States since January 1st, 2021. And then the individual must have entered the country as a minor, so 18 years or younger. And so this is great because that is a pathway for those who already have DACA, but then also for those who did not get an opportunity to get DACA, and so Dreamers. There is an educational and credential requirement for this one. So applicants must have either graduated from high school or obtain a credential similar to that, or be enrolled in a secondary education. There's also an alternative pathway, so includes obtaining a recognized post-secondary credential or completing a program in a career area or educational technical education. So those jobs like nursing, dental assisting, construction workers would fall into that as well. And then there is a fee cap for Title I, which would be capped at $495. And then there are also waiver and limitations. So the Secretary of Attorney General may waive certain grounds of inadmissibility, so for humanitarian purposes or to preserve family unity when appropriate. There's also detailed provisions outlining criminal and national security bars, so with discretionary waivers. So for any misdemeanors or criminal offenses that may be waived. And then coverage and benefit that you get from this is it will grant conditional permanent resident status for a period of 10 years with the potential extension, and outlines the process of removing this conditional status once further eligibility criteria are met, such as educational achievements, military service, or sufficient work history. And then also it establishes procedures to restore state level eligibility for higher education benefits once conditional status is lifted. And then under Title II, that is the DED and the TPS. So similar requirements to Title I. But for Title II, the specific ones to keep in mind is that it requires continuous physical presence in the U.S. for at least 3 years. And then applicants must submit all required documentation, including applications, supporting materials within 3 years after this Act's enactment. And then for this, for Title II, it does establish a fee of $1,140 with exceptions available. So if you are a minor, or if you don't meet this income, if you're low income and don't meet this income threshold, there may be an opportunity to lower that fee. I would say that the waivers and limitations for this are that it mirrors similar to Title I. And then for coverage and benefits, it provides an alternative pathway to adjust your status for those who have been eligible for TPS, DED. And then it also allows, for them to receive relief from removal procedures. So if there are any folks who are set for removal and they were to change their status to this due to this bill, then they would be able to remain in the United States. And then finally, just the final provisions of this are that basically you have to meet just the eligible requirements that I stated. It mandates a submission of biometric and biographic data and establishes strict background check procedures. And then if applicable, you would have to register under the military service. So this is an area where a lot of folks get concerned or worried and ask like, will I have to go to the military? And so a reminder that this is already a requirement for all U.S. citizens. So nearly all male U.S. citizens and male immigrants between the ages of 18 and 25 are already required to register for selective service. So this is just an inclusion to that. And then there's also opportunities for both administrative and judicial review. So that's just kind of like the overview of the bill. Something to keep in mind is that as new executive orders come through, and then there are new USCIS guidelines that might change. I think there was a new executive order recently about anybody, applying for an adjustment of status will need to show their social media links or websites. I just read something this morning that for the American Dream and Promise Act, that requirement would also apply for this if it becomes a bill. And so that's just something to keep in mind as well.
Yay. Thank you so much, Diana, for keeping us on the loop about that, and also for all the messages that you send on the group, because they're very helpful. I think a lot of us have a hard time kind of like making sense of all the legal jargon and stuff. So thank you so much. We appreciate you. Okay, we're gonna save time for questions like towards the end, guys. But right now, I want us to take all the information that Diana mentioned and kind of like project it towards the action, right? We are doing it because we feel that there's a chance that we can try and get this pushed. We can try and get support. It will help us. We know whatever effort we do can help us get closer to our mission, which is eventually getting legal protections for dreamers. So last week we decided that we were going to take action, ¿verdad? Entonces, over the weekend, we had a team of wonderful data entry committee coming together to help create an action. So thank you so much, Diana and Claudia and Ivan and Liz and who else was there? Maria and Belén and Rebecca, and Gaby. There was and both Gabys actually. Ya cuando llegan las dos Gabys, quiere decir que la cosa se puso buena. So there was a lot of effort going into it, but I think we have made a very comprehensive document that I hope will help us with those concerns que teníamos sobre las últimas actions, right? People were a little lost. People felt a little bit nervous about making the calls, which is completely normal, right? We have been trained to think that we don't have a voice. So cuando te dicen, llámala a tu representante, you feel like you're like that, that you're not prepared, you're not qualified to do so. But the first thing that we have to remember as a community is that they work for us, right? Whether or not we're citizens, we are constituents. We reside here in the United States. We pay taxes here in the United States. Us more than ever, we have literally like gone through the entire education system. We are working. We deserve to have a voice, right? And so we're not doing anything that we shouldn't be doing other than just demanding what we deserve, right? So we have to, ¿cómo se dice? First, creernos nosotros mismos, right? Before making the call. This is going to be navigating you through the entire guide, but I want you to know that you're making these calls because you have every right to do so, okay? Okay. I'm going to turn on the recording feature because I'm going to be sharing my screen. And once we get to the script, Claudia and we're going to be doing kind of like a little skit for you guys, for those visual learners. So today we're going to get like down and dirty, okay? We're going to try and like knock out the entire action so that it is freaking clear to every single one here. After we get from this call, everyone will know what to do. The first thing that you have to know is that this action is for anybody and everybody that wants to support, right? We're hoping that Dreamers in Actions makes so many calls, but we also hope that you can convince other dreamers to make calls, even if they don't want to be getting involved or coming to meetings or things like that. This guide will help them make their calls también, Okay, so that's the first thing you have to understand, que esto es para todos, right? And the more the merrier. This is the type of party that you want to invite everybody. Okay, let me go ahead and share my screen. The link tree is where we always have our actions, right? So that's where you're gonna go to get this action también. I'm gonna go ahead and start recording now. So you have this link, right, for Dreamers in Action, and any action that we do is gonna be here. So this one is the American Dream and Promise Act call to action. So we're gonna go ahead and click on that. It's gonna be a PDF that you're gonna be able to open. So I'm gonna go ahead and click view. You can open this from your phone. You can open this from your tablet, from your computer, no importa. You'll be able to access it because it's a PDF. Okay, so once you open it, you'll be able to see, and it's a lot of pages and it seems overwhelming, but it's not, okay? Mira, you're gonna scroll like this on your phone or your computer, and we're gonna go over it right now as a group, and we'll even cover the script just so that you can get some of the idea behind this, okay? So the first thing you need to understand is why this even matters, right? The Dream and Promise Act impacts millions of dreamers and immigrant families. And this bill, the first step it needs is to get assigned to a committee, okay? So the first general questions and the first calls that we're going to be making is going to be to pro-immigrant legislators because we want to push for this bill to reach a committee. So these calls are very important. So we're going to be talking to pro-immigrant leaders and we're going to ask them for the support. And we also want feedback from them. If the staffer knows their stance on this bill, or even just in general, like supporting dreamers, like yes or no type of thing, we want to document that, okay? So by doing this, we're going to be advocating for our rights and breaking generational silence. So here's some tips, right? General tips. The most important thing about any call in your life, not just this one, is that you want to be confident. You want to be clear and you want to be polite. English is my second language and I don't like my accent. Nobody is there to listen to your accent. As long as you're confident, it doesn't matter. You can, damn, Sofia Vergara sounds amazing and she has an accent and she's a Hollywood star. It's okay. Embrace your accent. Just be confident about it, okay? You want to make sure that you have facial expressions también to portray, right? Like if you're smiling, you want to be greeting, you want to smile to the phone so that it projects, right? Like you want that person to feel that you are empowered to make the call and you have confidence. You want to keep it short, direct, because staff members take many calls in a day and they're going to be taking your message. This call to action, we're going to start with calls because to send emails, we have to do inquiry forms and it just takes longer. And we want to make sure that we reach these legislators as soon as possible. So we're going to be doing calls first. And then later on, we're going to have an action for email inquiries, okay? So what's it going to be? We're going to ask them for their stance. And then we're going to ask them to pass the message if we're not able to speak to a representative. We also are going to ask for an email or a contact information. And we have a script right now, so you don't even have to remember this, okay? Let's go down. What are the materials you're going to need? So if you're a person that is making these calls or you're helping making these calls, you're going to need, of course, a phone. You're going to need your script. You can modify as you want, but it's just so that you know what talking points that you need. And you're going to have you need to have an access to the DIA phone bank survey. So I'm going to go ahead and click this link right here because on that link, we're going to be able to record everything that we're going to be getting from the call, okay? So the survey opens directly like that. So you can just click on your PDF and it will open directly. Let me go back. Okay, so we'll go over the survey in a minute, but that is just so that you can document. So ideally, you want to have your computer in front of you and your phone to make the calls, okay? How do you start the call? So before you even dial the number, you want to be able to locate the representative that you're trying to call. Try and have a zip code ready because if for some reason you're calling a representative that is not in your jurisdiction, you can always feel free to say a zip code that we have on the list. So I'm going to go down just so that you can see for now the list of states, okay? So we kept every single state by sheets. So, for example, Alaska, there's one person that is a pro-immigrant legislator. Arizona, there's a couple of more. So they're divided like that. So as you can see, there's zip codes in there. So you already have that a la mano when you're calling them. If for some reason they ask you for your zip code, you can provide one that is in their jurisdiction. Okay. All right, let me go back to the section I was discussing. Okay, so they may ask you for your name, so you can provide it and you can explain that you are a constituent. They may ask you for your entire address, and if that's the case, then you would be able to like some ask for the zip code, some ask for the address. If they ask for the entire address, you might just tell them that you are calling as a concerned constituent and you're an advocate for immigrant communities. Like you're just calling in general because this is a law that is like it affects us federally. So let's go on to the phone script.
I wanted to just say something too because I remember Diana saying that she sometimes says also like, "Oh, I will be moving there." So I don't have an address yet, but I feel like that's a good enough.
Yeah, you can absolutely, if you're comfortable, like letting them know, like, oh, well, I'm like, for example, I could say, like, como Rebecca dijo, I'm currently living in Texas, but I am planning to live there, or I'm already looking into potentially living there in the future. So I'm calling as a concerned constituent. Okay, thank you so much for remembering that. Is Claudia on?
Yes, I'm right here.
Perfect. It's our time to shine, girl.
Let's do this.
So Claudia and I are going to be just kind of going through the script just so that you can see that it flows easily. And you don't have to say everything exactly like it says here, but it's just a good idea, to have a conversational call. You got to remember that these are people. They're not robots and they're not there to judge you. And also the call is just between you and them. Nobody's even seeing you. So you're going to be fine. Don't worry. Don't get, I know that nerves are normal for the first calls, but eventually, this is a new muscle that you have to build, okay? So Claudia and I are going to help you kind of see how the phone script works in real life. So I'm gonna be the dreamer, so you, and then Claudia's gonna be the staffer or the assistant or the representative, the person answering the call. ¿Sale, vale?
Yes. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes, we can hear you.
Cool, cool, cool.
Perfect. Okay. So I'm gonna be ringing. And then you're
Ready? Thank you for calling Jasmine Crockett's office. How may I assist you?
Hi, hello. My name is Julieta, and I'm calling Representative Crockett's office because I would like to know their stance on the American Dream and Promise Act. Do you happen to know?
Yes, I do. Can I please ask for your full name, state, and zip code?
Yes, my name is Spanglish Girl, and my zip code is 78577.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Mhm.
Well, as far as the current DREAM Act of 2025, Senator Jasmine Crockett is in support of this bill.
Okay, great. Thank you so much for providing that information. Give me 1 second. I forgot to open this one. Okay, so thank you so much for providing that information. Can I speak with the representative or can I leave a message for her?
You are more than welcome to leave a message. She's not available at this time.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. I'm sorry, I didn't catch your name. Can you provide that for me?
My name is Claudia Huffer. I don't know, like, just
Your
pick a
name
big
is what? I'm sorry?
Claudia Huffer.
Okay, Claudia. Okay, perfect. Let me just start by telling you that I appreciate your time. Thank you so much for taking this message. I'm calling for 3 important reasons. So the first one, I would like to thank the representative for their leadership and their commitment to immigrant communities. I want to say that her advocacy gives us hope, and it is because of leaders like her that we continue to dream of a better future where we fully belong in the only country that we have ever called home. The second thing is that I want to share that I'm a dreamer. I have lived in the United States for over 24 years, And I would like for her to support the American Dream and Promise Act. It was introduced on February 26th of this year. And then the third thing that I wanted to say lastly is that I firmly believe that this bill will help stabilize the workforce, boost economic growth, and strengthen our communities. Along with many other dreamers across the nation, I plan to actively be involved in getting out the vote for the midterm elections. And I plan to also follow the decisions of those who support dreamers very closely. You know, when I first arrived in the United States, I remember like pledging allegiance to the American flag. I consider myself a citizen. The only thing that I'm lacking is a permanent protection from deportation. And so I really would like her support. So, well, that completes my message. Thank you so much for your help.
Spanglish Girl, thank you so much for calling. I will be happy to send this message along, and I appreciate you calling your senator.
Well, I do have one last question for you. Who can I
course.
contact regarding this matter? Could you please provide a name or an email of a staffer that handles immigration issues?
Yes, I can definitely provide you with a contact information for that person.
Okay. Can I please have that name and email?
The name is Dreamers in Action.
Okay, Dreamers in Action with one S.
Yes. I'm
Great.
going to give you the email.
Okay, great. And what is the name of the contact person?
Julieta.
Okay. Okay, thank you so much for providing that name. So that is it for me. Thank you so much for your time. I truly appreciate, and I hope that you have a great rest of your day.
I hope you have a great day too. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Okay. Oh my God, that is so weird to get recorded while we're doing this. But that is kind of like how the conversation flows. It will not take you more than 5 minutes. The only thing that we would like for you to take note of, and you probably want to have a notebook on the side, or if you are a fast typer, you can have this open and type it as you're talking to them, is that we want to be able to record what they're saying, right? We want to be able to record their interactions. And this Google form also has the script. So you could fill out the date that you're doing the call, the name and the representative you called, and whether they're in DC or you're calling their DC or district number. You can record it here, okay? Because everything is listed in this section. So you're gonna, like, for example, if you're starting with Alabama, you would be starting with Shamari. And so you already have a zip code. You already have, if they're, a House representative or the district that they're in. You don't have to say the district, but just if you're calling their district office or their DC. The reason why this first round of calls is important is because we want to know what are the numbers that are working, right? Like what are the numbers that are answering? What are the numbers that are not answering? We want to be able to document so that the next round of calls is going to be much easier because we have those numbers already. We have the correct information and the most accurate. Okay. So having this in front of you will help you. You can open it and you can go through the script as you're doing the call, or you can have a notebook on the side and just kind of get the information and then fill it out at the end of the call. So this link is available all throughout this PDF. And this link is to help you document every single call. And I know it sounds like a lot because but if we make 5 calls in one day, that's just 5 times that you have to do it. And it's 5 documented times. So we'll be able to track our progress as a team. And also we want to know if there's other people doing calls, we want to make sure that we document those efforts too. Okay. Again, these questions are very important because it's going to help us know their stance on dreamers. And if they have any notes, like for example, Crockett is obviously for dreamers, but for example, if there was a different representative like Lindsey Graham, who has explained that he could be in support of legalizing dreamers, but just dreamers, then we want to document that. Or if he has changed and is no longer wanting to even legalize dreamers, then we want to change. We want to be able to track that information so that we make a script later on to call those representatives and tell them like, so we know that you're no longer supporting dreamers because of their reason, but we want to make sure that you understand that this, and that, like we want to make sure that we make actions in the future based on the information that we're gathering right now. So it is very, very important that we take this seriously Even if we're going to make only 5 calls in a week or 10 calls in a week, we want to make sure that we do them correctly, okay? I'm going to go over the PDF and then at the end, the survey, just so that we can just see the whole PDF as a whole. So thank you so much, Claudia, for doing the script with me. It is so awkward to do it alone, but we're going to continue on the PDF, okay? So that's the script that you're going to get when you're opening the PDF. All right. If you click on the mariposa at any time, it'll take you right to the survey. Okay. Lastly, what if they don't answer? You even have a guide for that here. You can leave a voice message, or if the line is busy, you can try again later. You can check their website because perhaps that number is outdated. So we want to make sure and document that. Okay. So if for some reason they don't answer, you can try and return the call at another time. And document that they didn't answer because we want to know if those numbers are not working, right? It's going to help us for the future. That is how it looks. You're going to keep going. You don't forget that you're making a difference by using your voice and speaking up for those who cannot. I think calling for dreamers can seem overwhelming, but we're bilingual. We're able to express in their language. So it's a muscle that we have to build, but we're going to be getting better and better at it as we do it more, okay? Every call counts. Your voice matters. I know that sometimes it seems like, well, if I don't make the calls, it's not a big deal. Someone else is going to work them because there's 40 people on Dreamers in Action. So if I don't make them, that's fine. No. Every single call matters. And if you don't do it, that means maybe someone else is also not taking it seriously. And the whole reason we're doing this is because we believe that we can get permanent protections for Dreamers. And it is our responsibility to poner nuestra granita de arena. We decided to do this, so we should take it seriously. Okay. So let's continue going on this part. Once you scroll to page 9, this is the whole list of all the states that have pro-immigrant legislators, and it's a long list. So obviously we don't expect you that we're going to call the whole list in one sitting, but we could call 3 states in one day or 2 states, whatever our limits are. We know our own availability, as long as that every time we make a call, we also document on this survey, okay? So let me just kind of like scroll through it so that you can see it briefly, but it's a lot of names, but we want this to grow, right? We want more names that are pro-immigrant legislators, but every single state is here who has. So you might not see your representative here because perhaps your representative is not in support. So remember, this first round is for pro-immigrant legislators because we were trying to get the bill picked up by a committee, okay? Now I'm going to go over the survey just so that you see how easy it is to navigate. But know that at any point here on the PDF, you're able to click and boom, it takes you to the survey. Okay. So you want to have the survey in front of you. You want to have your phone or a notebook where you can document your questions. Because, like, for example, I'm not a fast typer. Okay. So I might have a better time if I just scribble on a sheet of paper and then just transfer the information. Every single call that you make, you're gonna fill it out, okay? So you put the date, you start by putting the date. So today, for example, if I made a call, I'm gonna put Julieta because that's my name. I'm gonna put who I called, Jasmine Crockett. I don't know if I'm spelling it correctly. I love her though. I love that. And I called her district office, okay? This also has the script, so if you want to use this as you're making your calls, that is also okay, because you can go and get the number, and then you can come back to the survey and just have the survey in front of you. So you're doing those at the same time. You can even open it from your phone, and when you click on the PDF on the phone numbers, it actually dials for you too. So however you find it easier for yourself, okay? This is the script as you see it on the PDF that I just showed you. And these are the questions, right? Did you speak to someone or did you leave a voice message? I spoke with someone, right? It was Claudia, the staffer, the Jasmine Crockett. And then the script is right here just for easy access. But who is the person that you spoke with? Her name was Claudia. I'm sorry. And what is the role? She said she was a receptionist. Did they provide the name and email of the staff member who handles the immigration issues? Yes. And then the email goes here. She said it was Dreamers in Action, whatever. And based on the conversation, Does the representative support? Yes, she said that they do support. How did they react to your call? They strongly support the bill. Did they ask for more details, documents? No, she didn't. If they requested a follow-up information, what did they ask for? They didn't request anything, so I'm going to leave it blank. Any additional notes or comments? Like, for example, if a representative staffer tells you, we don't know, but you can call us back tomorrow and I'll try to find out for you. Boom, you can put, she said that they don't know the stance, but they will ask and we can call them back tomorrow. You know, something like that. Like whatever they said that requires a note, you can put it there. And then which state were you calling? She is from Houston, so Texas. And all that information, I know it on the top of my head because it just happens to be Crockett and I love her. But you could go to the list here, ¿verdad? And you're able to get like whoever you were calling, that's the information you would already have, right? Because you have their state, the representative, whatever list you're on, whatever page you're on, you would already have that information. So I'm not coming up with this on the top of my head. You would have your list in order to submit this information. Are you affiliated with any organization, school, or advocacy group? Boom, I'm in Dreamers in Action. And then you would just submit. ¿Sale? Any questions about our action?
Yes, I have two quick questions, Julieta.
Yes.
The first one is, so you said we have to fill out the survey for each call that we make, right? So even if we call back because they asked us to call back, we fill it out again?
I would say yes. Mhm.
Okay. And then the second question is, are we dividing these states among the group? So each person has an assigned group to call, or are we responsible for calling each representative on the list?
That is a great question. I think the most, personally, guys, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the most, I guess, impact could be if we're all kind of calling the same states. So they're just getting like several calls during the week about the same topic and like move along like that. I don't know what you guys think. Or maybe we could divide half. What do you guys think? We can decide that right now as a group, actually.
Oh, so like having the whole group focus on like 5 states and then move on.
Yeah.
I think
Okay,
that's
I think that, yeah, I'm with that.
I think I also think that's great because each office has a quota. So if they get 50 calls on one specific issue, then they have to like address it in their either town halls or their publication or so each office has different quotas, but I know like that's the minimum, at least here in the state of Oregon and Washington. So it's helpful to that all of us are calling.
Perfect. I think that's a great idea then. Yes. And that way we know, like, for example, hey guys, this number didn't work for me, but they answered on this one and we'll send it on the chat and we'll, the following people that call will have the correct number and we don't duplicate efforts. I'm going to go ahead and stop recording now.